Hey, what is going on, hustle buddies? Oh my gosh, I am so pumped for tonight. All right, let me know in the chat if you are here, if you can hear me, if you are crazy super pumped for tonight's training, going over some online arbitrage here with the Online Arbitrage Challenge. All right, so yeah, let me know in the chat. I am just posting this link, making sure that everybody gets here who wanted to be here. Also, in the chat, let me know. I'm curious if most of the people here are like relatively new beginners, if you've been selling for maybe like a year or so, or if you've been around for a long time, you're here for the ride, you're pumped up to be around coworkers. All right, I know that that's one of the things that I miss the most as an Amazon seller now who was a teacher before. Man, there's nobody around me in real life who understands what I do. So if you're just here for the camaraderie, awesome. Let us know in the chat how long you have been selling. Awesome, awesome, awesome. What is up, guys? Hey, Lindsay. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Regina. Awesome. Is there a link to see this on PC? Yeah, if you just go to our Facebook group, Bobby, if you're on a PC, go to either the Facebook group or that event that's inside the group if you can't see it. But it should be like the top post inside of the Hustle Buddies group. So awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so tonight we're going to be doing a few things. So we're going to be talking to Chris Grant. He is going to be doing a private online arbitrage training just for us, just here in Hustle Buddies for you guys. Which is awesome. All right, we're going to be breaking down. I talked to him a little bit about what he can do. We'll see. I asked him if he could do some manual sourcing, as well as some like tactical arbitrage training. So like that way we can get the people. If you don't use tactical arbitrage, you can get something out of it. And if you want to learn more about tactical arbitrage, you can get something out of it. So yeah, so he'll be walking us through that stuff. If we've got time for everything. We can take questions for you guys if you've got questions down in the chat. The easiest way to sort of organize, because there's so many comments, there's so much flying by right now. The easiest way to get a question answered is to use hashtag question and then write your question. And then it sort of differentiates it for me on my side of things inside of the chat. Okay. The other thing I want to know, who here has already taken the OAC, the Online Arbitrage Challenge? I'll put a link there down below. I've got our second computer over here as well, looking at comments and things. So who here has taken the Online Arbitrage Challenge? And was it mind-blowing or was it life-changing? Right? Okay. Chris Grant is here. We were just giving a little bit of time. So we've got him here in chat. Let's give a big, warm welcome to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Chris Grant. How's it going, man?
I'm doing well, man. How you doing?
We are doing good. Trying to stay warm. You know, it's only about 60 down here in Orlando. It's rough, man.
It is rough. My wife made me turn on the heat today. And it's crazy.
When you turn on your heat for the first time of the year in Florida, does it always like smell like smoke? Because it's
It
just
is
never
weird, right?
Yeah. Yep. Awesome. Hey, Jojo, how's it going? Ernest is here. Alicia's here. April's here. Awesome, guys. All right. So Chris, you are sort of the, I'll say like the voice of authority in regards to online arbitrage. You've got, I mean, the whole OAC, which tons of people have taken. You've developed tools for it. You've helped with tactical arbitrage, I know like you've been hand in hand with them for so long. You've got all sorts of add-ons and plugins and Chrome extensions and stuff like that. So can you give us, for those of you who don't know who Chris Grant is or why the heck I brought him into this group, can you give us just a little intro for yourself? Like, who are you? What do you do? All that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've kind of had the hustle bug ever since I was probably in 8th grade. I think that's when the seed that was already inside of me got watered by flipping pizza to the people in my class and in my school. And then I never really was like employed after that. I was always kind of on my own thing. So sold insurance for a while, and then I was like, you know what? I want to make some money online. I want to be able to figure out how to not have to go to an office or go to someone's house every night and sell insurance. And I figured out drop shipping on eBay, and that's how I got started. But the time component of that was too much. I was staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning fulfilling orders. And then I came across Chris Green and his first group, I think Scan Power. And I learned a little bit about doing retail arbitrage and how powerful the FBA program is. And I loved the hustle. I loved going out and doing retail arbitrage, but I was like, you know what? There's got to be a little bit of an easier way where maybe I could sit at home and do this. And sure enough, you dig a little bit further, you talk to enough people, and they're like, oh, well, I just order from Target.com and Walmart and send it into Amazon and don't have to go out and drive all over, creation. And I've always been someone who, I know that you're a teacher, and it's always kind of come naturally to me. I like to teach. I've been a basketball coach. Just like sharing whatever I'm learning. And it's really I want to say that it's an altruistic venture. However, teaching really is a selfish thing because when we teach, we really kind of bring it, inside and never forget it. Um, and so I was like, you know what, I'm going to just share what I'm learning. And I don't know, I get ADD, so I was like, you know what, let's create an extension and let's try some software and let's teach about everything we're learning, and that just kind of got me to here.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I love it. All right, so can you explain a little bit like with online arbitrage? What what type of person should be doing this? Why is it sort of a draw?
Mhm.
Who is it for? Who is it not for? That kind of thing.
Yeah, so I think that the person it's for is someone who they like the dopamine hit of flipping. However, maybe you work too much, or maybe going out and driving all over doing retail arbitrage isn't an option for you. Or heck, maybe you want to travel the country. There's all kinds of folks who travel all over the country and do online arbitrage, send things to a prep center, never see their inventory, and this week they're doing it from Arizona, and next week they're doing it from California. But if you're ready, or if you know how to flip items, you know what arbitrage is. Online arbitrage can be for you. Uh, you can do it manually, which is great. It takes a little bit more time, but you can put processes into place to be able to replicate yourself over and over again. Or you can use software and make it a little bit faster that way. I also, and some people disagree with me, but I think OA is something that's a little bit more scalable than retail arbitrage. If you want to scale retail arbitrage, you can absolutely. I've got friends who do, 10 million a year in RA, but you've got to have shoppers and your processes down. And then I know guys who are doing $3 million in OA, and it's just them and a prep center and one VA, So uh, it just kind of depends where you are at in your arbitrage life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think anything is scalable, but I would tend to agree. OA is more commonly scaled, and so the path is a little bit easier and more understood and a little bit more obvious.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, so oops, that's the wrong link. So, yeah, would you be able? I mean, I know a lot of people here are fairly new to this concept of like online arbitrage. For
Mhm.
someone who, let's say, like they just started their Amazon account like a month ago. All right, I'm sure that we've got a lot of beginners here. Let's say they started like a month ago. They don't really have all these fancy, expensive tools yet because they don't really have the budget for it, right? Like
Yeah.
this is like Nate back 5, 6 years ago, whenever we were starting. Like I've got like $100 to start this thing.
Oh, did we lose you? Hey, there he is.
There we go. I'm back. Oh, I flipped sides. That's weird. All right. Sorry about that. We are in our garage and dealing with Spectrum Internet.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm back. So yeah. So could you? I think you are able to share your screen. Could you sort of show us for like the absolute beginner, maybe they can't afford their tools and tax structure, things like that. Could you show us how could a beginner get themselves into it? Maybe they don't even have like a prep center or anything like that. Like someone who's just right off the street. How can
Yeah.
someone start flipping things online? And can you show us some examples of that, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
So the best thing is something I know that you teach. And one of the best things to do is to not overlook anything. So if you're going to do OA, pick something and go out and spend some time in that category. If you're going to go do retail arbitrage, Nate would probably tell you, hey, listen, you could go to Walmart, you go to Target, go wherever you might want to go down, aisle number 3 or aisle number 5 or whatever aisle, and absolutely go through everything. I would suggest the same tactic when you're doing manual arbitrage. If you want to do just straight manual arbitrage, online arbitrage, pick Target or Walmart or whatever you like and pick a category, spend some time going back and forth. There's also something called reverse online arbitrage where we can kind of start with Amazon and go the other way, but this way is probably easier. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here and let me open this up. And then the internet has blessed us with this incredible free tool called Google. And it is going to be another one of your tools in your tool belt for online arbitrage. Whenever you find something on Amazon that maybe looks priced a little bit higher, go to the Google machine and don't hesitate to go past page number 1. In the SEO world, in the marketing world, there's a saying that the best place to hide a dead body is page 2 of Google, and the same goes for some gold when you're doing arbitrage. So, but let's give an example. Let's do matter of fact, if somebody in the audience wants to throw out a category, or Nate, if you want to throw out a category,
I love it. Yeah, let's hear from chat. Somebody throw out a
yeah.
category, and then while we're waiting for that, so just tell us some sort of category that you want to search for online arbitrage.
Mhm.
While we are waiting for that, I also want to let you guys know, I forgot to say this at the beginning. If you stay to the end of this, so we'll be here about an hour or so. If you stay all the way until the end, we are actually giving away a free entry into the online arbitrage challenge, which is starting tomorrow night or Monday night. I think there's like a
Well,
hangout tomorrow night.
yeah, tomorrow night, I know you're going to be a guest. We're going to kind of have a round table where I've got some really bright folks who are going to come on. We're going to kind of talk and go back and forth a little bit, prognosticate what 2022 is going to look like. And then we officially start Monday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern.
I love it. Awesome. Yeah, so we'll be giving that away here at the end. We've got a little sign up there. I've posted a link a few times. So yeah, can you see the chat there, Chris, over on the side?
Yeah, I saw soup, and I really liked that one. Okay.
Okay, I like it.
So we're gonna go to Target. We're gonna go to the grocery category and show more here. And in the grocery category, we are gonna look for, see, what category would this
And for
be
those
in
of you guys
here?
who are beginners, so soup will be under grocery. Grocery might be gated for you as a beginner, but we have a completely free YouTube video on how to get ungated in grocery. It should take you like
Yes,
10 minutes. It's very easy and very cheap to do.
it is. It is super easy and super cheap to do. So I just, I just searched soup. So the cool thing about soup is a lot of people are going to think, oh, well, cans, and those are going to be heavy. But here's the thing, when you think that to yourself, there is a very good reason to start looking in those places because other people are thinking the same thing, and you're likely going to see less competition. Now, this little Lipton extra noodle, might you have some other competition because it's small, it's light, it's easy to pack? Yes. But there's going to be a lot of people who don't want to take the time to maybe throw a little bit of bubble wrap on that Progresso and toss it in a box with, 3 or 4 of its sisters and send it on to Amazon. If you're willing to do that, there's a ton of profit in stuff like this. All right. So let's go ahead and just open up Amazon, and we're going to do this methodically, like you're brand new, never done anything like this before. And once you pull up the products on the source site, Walmart, Target, wherever you might be sourcing from, all you do is go over to Amazon and start looking for it. So we're looking for Progresso Rich and Hearty Chicken and Home Style Noodle Soup. Now, what I'm going to do is I don't want to be quite that detailed because I want the Amazon algorithm to show me what people are shopping for. So I'm just going to put in Progresso, all right, and I'm going to put in chicken, and I'm just going to put in chicken noodle soup. Now, this is it's going to take me a little bit longer because I'm going to need to make sure that I have the exact match. This one is chicken and home style noodles. But while I'm doing this, I might also come across something else that is going to be what we call a rabbit trail a little bit later on. All right. So, for example, this Progresso chicken noodle traditional soup, well, that's $28.25 for a 6-pack. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up, and I'm going to remember to come back to this while I look for the Progresso chicken soup I'm looking for. All right. And let's just take a look here and see if we can find it. Chicken and home style noodles. There it is. I'm going to open that up in a new tab. And then while I'm doing this, I'm going to look for multiple of the same match, because as you sell on Amazon, or the longer you sell on Amazon, you're going to realize that there are different size of multi-packs. There might also be multiple listings for the same item. There might be a 6-pack here and a 6-pack there, and maybe this one sells better, or maybe this one's priced a little bit higher but still sells pretty well. So
Or
we've
even
got an
like the home
8-pack here.
style with the fat free as well. Like there's even bundles like that
Exactly.
going on.
Exactly. So we're going to open this one up here. We've got an 8-pack, we've got a 12-pack, and we've got a 3-pack. All right. So I think that's enough for examples on this one. And then we've got a rabbit trail to go down as well. All right. We've got this rabbit trail to go down here. So now that we've done this, it's time for us to do a couple of things. And I heard Nate mention this the other night. I was like, that's a genius way to explain this. So you do one of two things. Number one, you can look at Keepa and you can say, well, does this sell very often? And this one doesn't sell gangbusters, but it definitely sells. And the pink line, which is going to be the buy box line, is pretty flat. We see, it went a little wild here for a moment, but over the course of the last 90 days, it's been fairly steady. So I would consider this a replen, not an incredible replen you're going to buy 100 of every single month, but it's going to be something that you could buy, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 of every single month. Okay. So that lets me know that, okay, I can look a little bit deeper into this one. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to figure out, well, is this even profitable? Well, this is a pack of 12. And the one thing I notice is that, well, it doesn't have the weight in here. So we'd have to figure out whether or not the weight would work and the size of this particular item would work. So it seems like someone is they're either A, drop shipping it, or B, they're shipping it out from their own warehouse. My guess is for the first of those, because this would be something really horrible to ship out yourself. So with this one, we've got a little extra step to take. So maybe we pass on this one since there's no weight and size on this particular item. So let's go look at this next one here. This one is going to be a pack of 8. We want to double check and make sure that it absolutely matches. Home style chicken and home style noodles, rich and hearty. This one has a little bit of a different picture. It says richer and heartier broth. So we need to double check and make sure that that's still okay. We can see that it sells through pretty well. And that buy box price, even though it wiggles a little bit more, it's still fairly steady along that $30 line. All right. So now we need to see, okay, well, is this profitable? This is going to be a pack of 8, and we can get this for $1.99 before we figure out discount gift cards or any cash back or anything like that. So we're just going to figure $1.99 on this item. And we're going to multiply that by 8. Okay. So this one actually doesn't work. All right. It's negative 20 cents because it's going to be bulky and heavy and things like that. So, sorry, I was on the wrong one, guys. I went to the rabbit trail. Let's do $1.99 times 8. So this one is profitable, but not profitable enough that you'd want to bother with it. Nobody wants to make 87 cents for packing up a bunch of cans of soup. So then we go on to our next one. And this one still moves. It doesn't move quite as nicely as the first two, but it still does move. We can see that by the sales rank chart. We can also see that the number of sellers has gone up and down, kind of to back that up. But this one is moving a little bit better, it seems, because that buy box price is coming down a little bit. And that's okay. It's more in line with the market, and that's not a bad thing. And this is a 3-pack. All right. So these are $1.99 a piece. $1.99 a piece. Multiply that by 3. Well, we've got $5 on this one, and we are comparing ourselves to the next FBA seller, not the buy box holder, because a lot of times people will pay a little bit extra for that. But even at the buy box price of $18.80, you'd still make about $3 on that, or a 54% ROI. Okay. So right out of the gate, within a few minutes, we found something that's profitable, not something that's incredibly sexy. This isn't something that's going to make $10 and sell 200 a month, but the unsexy products and all these singles and doubles that we can hit are really where a foundation of an online arbitrage business is made. And then because we get to bat so often, we hit those in the park home runs and the regular home runs, a lot more frequently. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to piggyback off of you a little bit here, Chris, and interject
Absolutely.
some. So like a lot of people are like, oh, but it's only $3 and all that. But okay, so think about this. All right. That took us all of what, like 5, let's call it 10 minutes. Okay. To find it. Now, I mean, we know what we're doing. We've got some tools and things like that. So let's say a beginner, let's say it takes you an hour to find that. You're like, oh my gosh, I just spent an hour and made $3. But if it's a moderate replan, if you can keep buying this over and over and over, let's say you can sell 10 of them a month. Okay, I think that that's reasonable based on the Keep a chart that I'm looking at. Okay, so that's $30 a month. If you can continue to sell that over the next year, I mean, that's over $300. So you just made $300 in 10 minutes. That's a ridiculous like hourly wage if you're trying to like break down your hourly profits and things. So yeah, like building upon your own business like that, even with these small sort of base hits, like Chris was saying, they don't have to be home runs to build your business upon them. So yeah, I love it, man. This is great. Keep going.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. There was someone who had a question, and they said that their rev seller is showing something a little bit different. Well, here's the thing. I was doing a sourcing competition for the last 2 days, so I don't have any sales tax in here. I also wouldn't pay sales tax on grocery in Florida anyway. And I don't have any inbound shipping calculated in. So this is a little bit higher because I would need, 25, 30 cents per pound to ship this into Amazon. And then the way that I would package something like this personally is with these, I think I would probably bubble wrap them, and they would fit very nicely into an I Love Supplies poly bag. And I wouldn't worry about them busting through or anything like that. All right. Now, you guys might remember that I talked about, well, we've got a little rabbit trail, okay? And here's one of the great things about someone like myself, who I see a squirrel and I got to look, okay, is with online arbitrage, while we're searching for the first item, we can come across all these little rabbit trails that we can go look for. And you'll remember that I opened up this pack of 6 of this traditional chicken noodle soup. Well, before I leave or before I'm done doing OA for the day, I would go down my rabbit trails. And this would be one of them. So I don't see it here. Oh, there it is. It's right there on the first page. So it's $1.99. All right. It's the traditional chicken noodle soup. It's 19 ounces. And this one is a 6-pack. This one I don't believe is going to be Oh, it is. This one is profitable as well. $3.78, a 32% ROI. Not crazy numbers. However, what I really like about this one is This buy box has been fairly steady. It looks like it was a little lower out here, so I would really look at hedging my risk a little bit and trying to lower my cost of goods, whether that's with a red card or discount gift cards, or making sure my cash back is on point, if that's possible in this particular category. Because I like to look out here and see, oh, well, it's been $20 before, and can I make a profit in the worst case scenario? Okay. But as of right now, it looks a little bit profitable at $31. That's a little bit higher than what the buy box price is. But remember, when you're selling FBA, you don't always necessarily have to be the lowest price, because if someone goes and says, I want to look for a 6-pack of Progresso chicken noodle soup and I only want it prime, which I am guilty of, all right, I can get it overnight, or maybe 2 days tops. I will happily pay a few dollars more to not have to wait for a third-party seller to ship it and take a week and a half or 2 weeks, or maybe even never get it. Okay. So the reason this one is really nice is because this one actually sells really, really well. 22,000 in grocery is excellent. It's probably selling, I don't know, 150 or more units per month. Maybe I'm not great at estimating velocity off the top of my head, but this one's selling at a pretty good clip, and people are paying essentially through the nose for this, when you can pick this up for $12 at your local Target, or Walmart would probably be a few cents cheaper. Okay. So doing that manual arbitrage, adding in rabbit trails, is going to be one of the most fruitful things that you can do. And the cool thing is that Amazon actually gives us rabbit trails to go down without us really having to do any work. You can look at these frequently bought together items and see if they are profitable. So this one here, I'd go look for this one. This is going to be a pack of cans. It looks like a pack of 12 at $36. All right. So that'd be one I would go look at. And then we've got all these items to explore. Well, we've got Campbell's Chunky, and there's more Progresso, and then we've got some pasta over here, and we've got all these rabbit trails that we can go down to make money off of, or hopefully make money off of. Okay. Let's see here. How do you estimate the velocity? So there is no perfect tool to estimate sales velocity. You can use some tools out there that offer them. You need to realize that all of them are going to be off, and it's not because they're trying to do wrong by you. It's just because Amazon doesn't give us the sales information. They don't say, hey, this can of soup sells 30 times a day. I wish they did, but they don't. So you can use those to help you out a little bit, but the best thing to do is to learn Keepa and to have sold some things yourself, excuse me. So if you sell groceries on a regular basis and you're like, oh, I've sold that, and it's usually ranked around 20,000, and I was able to sell 20 units in a month, and I know that there were 5 other sellers, so we're probably selling 100 units in total, and you kind of just shoot from the hip. But the best thing to do is, if you see the heartbeat on a Keepa chart, all right, you can say, okay, this is moving. All right. If those heartbeats are further and further apart, it's moving a lot slower. All right. And if it looks like a flat line, well, typically that listing may be dead. Okay. All right. Now, do we have any questions or anything? That I didn't lose anybody?
Someone was asking about expiration dates. Like, since you said you're ordering soup, for example, from Walmart or Target, how do you deal with expiration dates with online stuff?
Great question. So here's the thing. You can never be sure whether something is going to be within the expiration dates until you get it in your hands. However, you can hedge your bet a little bit by picking categories, especially in the grocery category, that tend to have longer expiration dates. So canned goods, jarred goods, sauces, essentially anything that's processed is going to have some sort of shelf life, and those are going to be closer to things that you probably want to sell. Like, for example, there's a lot of money to be made in specialty Oreos if you're like first in or last out, but managing those kind of expiration dates gives me an ulcer, so I don't mess with them ever.
Man,
Okay.
yeah, I bought the Game of Thrones Oreos back when Game of Thrones was
Exactly
ending.
what I was thinking.
I had
Yep.
3 cartloads. I mean, it was like, I don't know, 4 grand or something. I think I sold, I don't know, 10 of them.
Yep.
And I've been eating Oreos for well, I threw them away at this point, but gave them to every friend, every neighbor. I mean, boxes and boxes. Take my Oreos.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was really tempted with the I don't know, there were like pink Oreos or something that came out like at the middle of the pandemic. And I
I
was
think for
like,
the Troll movie, I think.
yes. And I
Mhm.
was like, I was really, really tempted, but I held back.
Yep.
So, and that what we did, if you do that over and over and over again, and then eventually you can pass this same process on to a virtual assistant or a kid if you are into child labor. Uh, you can pass this on and duplicate yourself, or then focus on other things in your business. Okay. I'd love to say that it's rocket surgery, but it's not. We learn these things, we teach these things, and then they're duplicatable over and over and over again because the source for these products is everywhere. Matter of fact, I talked a little bit about, well, could I find this? Could I make my cost of goods a little bit less? Well, one of the best things to do is, okay, well, I'm looking at Target, but why don't I go Google this, and can I find this cheaper somewhere else? So that's exactly what we'll do. We'll look up Progresso, hearty chicken and noodle, and we'll see if we could find this a little bit less expensive somewhere else. So we've got Progresso. We're going to go ahead and pull up Walmart, and they look to be a penny cheaper. But then I'm going to eat my own cooking here, and we're going to keep going down the list. We've got CVS, and we've got Kroger there, but we're going to go to the second page of Google. And over here, we've got HEB. So something to think about if you have an HEB near you, for my friends in Texas, you might be able to get it a little bit cheaper there. For those of you in California, it looks like $2.50 at Safeway. Harris Teeter Pharmacy, we don't have any of those. But here we go. We've got Big Lots. All right. Second page of Google. Big Lots looks to be at $1.79 for the chicken and home style noodles.
Plus 15%
We're not going to be able
off.
to get it. Yeah, not going to be able to get it shipped to us. We're going to have to go pick it up, but we can go ahead and check the availability of it, go pick it up. And then we've got kind of a hybrid model where we're doing online arbitrage, but we're going to go pick this up in store because it's local, because we can save ourselves 11 cents, which doesn't seem like a lot, but anything you can do to beat out someone else's cost of goods is going to be able to fill your pocket a little bit more. All right.
Mhm. I'm
And
seeing a
that's why
couple
Google is
questions.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple questions here. Someone was talking about sending stuff directly to the Amazon warehouse. So you can't buy from Walmart and send it to the Amazon warehouse. That's not a thing. You either have to ship it to yourself or a friend, a mom, somebody working for you, or to a prep center who then packages it together to then send to Amazon. You can't do direct from one to another.
Yes. Now I will, and especially not in today's day and age. Okay. I'll let you guys on a little secret. 10 years ago, Amazon was much more of the Wild West than it is now. And there were some people who were getting away with that kind of thing, ordering from Walmart, having it shipped directly to an Amazon warehouse, and it getting checked in and actually into their inventory, which boggles my mind. Uh, Doing that today, and you would absolutely lose all of your inventory. Amazon would have no idea what to do with it.
Yep. Another great question that I see here from YouTube, Janine asks, how do you get around quantity limits? Like if Walmart only lets you buy 1 or 2 or 10 of something, how do you get around that?
That's a great question. So, when it comes to sourcing online, I'll be honest. I typically do not try to get around limits. That's a good way to get your it's a good way to get your account limited or maybe even banned from someone. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to tick off the people who are essentially helping me put food on the table. So what I will do is, if it's a store that I can go to physically, I would go to it and I would buy them off the shelf. And typically I've never been limited unless it's, something that, if there are mitigating circumstances. Okay. Yeah, cleaning supplies at the height of COVID, you get limited in store, but chicken noodle soup, and there's no zombie apocalypse, you're probably not going to get limited in store. The other thing I would do is, this gives you the opportunity to use some of your people skills, talk to a manager, and if it's something that you buy on a regular basis, say, hey, would you be willing to order a couple of cases for me? Or what could I do to talk you into giving me a discount if I buy in larger quantities? So shaking hands and kissing babies with managers is not a bad thing. And you can start it online and then go into the real world and practice that kind of thing as well.
Absolutely. Building relationships is huge, and sort of goes along. I mean, someone was saying, like, mentioning not returning bad buys to stores. That sort of goes into, we're trying to build relationships here with this business. It's relationship building is huge. I have so many managers' numbers in my phone, and I'll get text all the time like, "Hey, Nate, such and such just went on sale," or "We got this brand that I know you sell a lot of," or things like that. And managers will set stuff aside for me. They'll order shipments for me. So you can use these managers almost as like a pseudo wholesale connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
So building these positive relationships is great, but also avoiding creating negative relationships. So avoiding, like, if you clear the shelf but then it doesn't sell, don't take it back to Walmart. All right, that Walmart's going to hate you, and you're never going to get those kinds of deals again. They're never going to work with you on anything. They're going to give you issues, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, don't. If it's like expired, sure, yeah. If you ordered it online, yeah, that's fine. But if you yourself made a bad buy, if you made a mistake, don't put that onto the store.
Yeah. Don't donate that stuff to a shelter. Stock up on those karma points and take the loss on your taxes.
Yep.
It's kind of a win-win-win.
Yep. Oh, and Vivian on YouTube. Yes, this is also streaming in our Facebook group. If you're not a part of that, definitely join it. Facebook.com/groups/hustle buddies. There's like 250 people on Facebook and about 20 or 30 people on YouTube watching this. Awesome. All right, so yeah, Chris, that was awesome. Sort of showing us like the manual process, like how a beginner can find that. There was a couple tools that he did use. So he used Keepa.
Mhm.
Um, I would say that everyone should be getting Keepa from day one if they possibly can.
Yeah.
It's so integral. We'll put a link here. It's such an important part of this business, knowing if something is selling. Because really, I mean, I say this all the time. Like, there's two things you got to know to keep it simple: is it selling, and is it profitable? And Keepa can
Mhm.
tell you one and a half of those things. All right. So yeah, Keepa is so integral. He was also using something called Rev Seller there. That's where he could see the fees. I put a link in that in chat. That's not required. That's
Mhm.
just an easy way for you to see the fees. You can see the fees on your app. You can see it on Inventory Lab if you use that. You can use Amazon calculators. There's lots of calculators online. That's what Chris was using. It makes it easy, especially for videos, just getting the fees to pop up really nice and easy. And I use RevSeller or Ace and Zen are both pretty much the same product.
Mhm.
I use that for large scale online arbitrage. And that's a tool to look into if you're doing this at like a medium, or if you have, I guess, the budget for it. It's a great tool. But as a beginner, don't feel like you have to get this and have to get that and have to get that and have to get that. We're just kind of showing you what we do and sort of the easy part and all of that. So Chris, let's shift gears a little bit. So for the people who are either looking to maybe they have a larger starting budget. Maybe they have more money than time. I mean, there are some crazy people in the world who have that problem, right? Maybe they're looking to scale. Maybe they're already doing OA and stuff like that, and they're trying to scale. And they're
Mhm.
looking at using some more of these tools. They're looking at maybe using things like tactical arbitrage, which is sort of like the golden standard for people doing online arbitrage to a large scale. I don't know if you've run any scans or anything like that, but could you give us sort of a brief rundown, like what is tactical arbitrage, why do you use it, and how do you use it?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a quote by a guy named Archimedes, and it goes, "Give me a lever big enough, and I'll move even the world." And I think that in any business, using leverage is incredibly important. And tactical arbitrage, that really is what that is. it's not a person that you have to manage. And instead, it's just software that you can say, okay, this is what I'm looking for. These are the criteria. And then it will go out and it will essentially look at each one of those products online. And if it fits your filters, like it makes $2 in profit, and the average 90-day sales rank is under 100,000, then it will pull those back so that you can look deeper into them and decide if there's something that you want to flip. And what's incredible about it too is that they have hundreds and hundreds of sites to choose from. So you don't necessarily have to be like, oh, well, another day of sourcing Walmart. You can say, well, you know what? I want to source every single grocery category that's out there. Or maybe I want to do a reverse search and starting with products that are already on Amazon. And I want to reverse search all of the soups that are on Amazon to see if they're out there in the world that I could flip those profitably. And that's why tactical arbitrage is so powerful. You can set it up, let it run while you're sleeping, go to work the next day, come home after dinner, after the kids are in bed, and you can sit down and you can have products ready to go. Now, you're going to have to go through them. You're going to have to use, a little bit of brain power still to make sure that they match, make sure, everything else is ready to go. But it can save you a ton of time. And I do have some products available in my view data, so we could talk about filtering and things like that. But what I could do is I could share what I think is one of the most powerful ways to kind of let tactical arbitrage rip. Okay. And like I said, that is the reverse search. In the reverse search, you've got a bunch of different things that you can do. And I know it seems overwhelming, especially if you've never seen it, because there's lots of buttons and dials to press and pull. And well, am I going to break it if I pull the wrong one and all of that? But don't worry, you can't break it. And as long as you put the filters in correctly, you'll get some good results. So one of the easiest ways to start with a tactical arbitrage reverse search is going to be also show these title and image matches. So tactical arbitrage can not only look up things by UPC, but it actually has, computer vision, if you will, and it will look at the picture of the item on Amazon compared to the item on another site, and it will try to match them up. All right. And so turn that on. And then the easiest thing to do is to scan bestsellers. Now, a lot of times, if you go and actually look at the bestsellers on Amazon manually, you only get to see the top 100 bestsellers in each category. Tactical arbitrage is able to see the top 100,000 bestsellers on Amazon at any given time. So what we can do is we can choose a category. And maybe we want to choose that grocery category again. So we go to grocery and gourmet food. And then maybe you still want to get a little bit granular. And maybe you want to say, you know what, I had a good time with the soups. So those are going to be in my pantry staples. So now I'm going to search for everything in the pantry staples. And this will give me the top 5,000 of that subcategory. Okay. Once you do that, you need to set up some filters. You can set up price adjustments. So if you know that you have a discount somewhere, you can do that. Or you can let tactical arbitrage figure out the discounts for you. It pulls in the discount gift cards and the cash back and things like that. It can do that automatically based on the sources that you choose. You can choose different cash back sites, different gift card sites. It'll pull those automatically for whatever site you might be sourcing. I typically leave these turned off. I will figure out how to reduce my cost of goods manually. Next, you can decide, well, you know what? I don't want any items over a certain rank. I don't want any items with estimated sales less than X. And in this example, I'll be 5 per month. Maybe I want to make sure that I'm not getting items from third-party sellers at the source site. Walmart offers third-party sellers to sell on their platform, and I don't want to buy from, Bob's Shack and Tackle on Walmart. I want to buy from Walmart only. Outside of that, in this remove section, that's all you need. The key to using tactical arbitrage profitably is to keep loose filters on the front end and to filter later on when you were actually viewing the data. In our costs and fees, we can include those. So if you're sending this to a prep center, you can include your cost there to make sure that you're only buying profitable items with all of your fees calculated in. You can put in a price per pound to ship to Amazon. So you can see I've got 35 cents in here. That's probably a little on the high side. I could probably get that down to 27 or 30 cents per pound to ship into Amazon with some dense items. And then we choose our profit and ROI. Now, here's one of the places that people who are new to something like tactical arbitrage typically get wrong. They'll say, well, I really only want to see things that have $5 or more in profit and a 50% ROI or better. Well, I would suggest that you throttle that way, way back. Put in $1 for your profit, put in 10% ROI. You got to remember that using a filter like this, the profit and ROI, does not mean that you have to accept those as things you're going to sell on Amazon. But you want to be able to see those things because maybe they make sense for one reason or another. Perhaps it's a small and light product where you could send in 100 and you have really low fees and you could make 50 cents or $1 on it and it only cost you $1. I would do that all day. That's essentially printing money legally. But you can also choose to filter a little bit later on in the view data section and go with something a little bit higher. In the other filter section, you also want to show Amazon out of stock results. And the reason you want to do this is because at tactical arbitrage out of the box, if something is out of stock on Amazon, meaning Amazon's not selling it and there are no third parties currently in stock, tactical arbitrage will wipe it away and not show it to you. But this filter will allow you to see that. And when you can find a product that nobody is selling on Amazon, not another third-party seller, and it has evidence that it has sold in the past and you can buy it at a price that would make it profitable, well, you can be the only person on that listing, at least for the time being, which is also another way to absolutely print money as long as the market wants that product. Those are the only filters that I use. And once you let this run for 2, 3, 7, 24 hours, you're going to get results that you can take a look at. And those results are going to look a lot like this. They're going to be a bunch of columns, and you're going to have a history chart, which looks a lot like a Keepa chart, okay? But it's called a history chart inside of tactical arbitrage. You're going to be able to see your estimated monthly sales. You're going to see that I actually have mine down here at 0 right now. That's how wide we go. You can see the quantity and you can see the price. You're going to be able to see the titles, whether or not it's hazmat. You'll be able to see the product image at the source site and on Amazon to make sure things match. You're going to see a match quality score. And then you're going to be able to see, well, here is my gross profit if all of these numbers are correct. I'd be able to make $32 on this. The gross ROI is 40%. Now, this particular item is not in stock, as we can see right here, but this is just an example. And now, instead of us manually typing in every single product back and forth from every single website, we're now just going through essentially a sheet of possible deals. We're looking to make sure that everything matches. We're looking to make sure that it's actually profitable. We're looking to make sure that it actually sells. And once it does, full send. Okay. You start buying some. I personally like to go wide and not deep, test it out, and then you can buy it over and over and over again, hopefully, as long as the market price stays the same. Who created tactical arbitrage? A friend of mine by the name of Alex Moss, who is now retired, created tactical arbitrage. Good guy.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. So I've seen a lot of questions going back to Keepa, like how do you know if something sells?
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking at the charts? So for all of you guys, here's what I'm willing to do. I don't want to take up all of Chris's evening going through a bunch of Keepa stuff. I am totally fine hanging out here with you guys sort of afterwards, do a little after show thing where I again break down a bunch of Keepa things. I've done Keepa videos. This will probably be like my 10th live Keepa breakdown video. But if you guys have questions about Keepa, I'm happy to stay on and we'll walk through some examples together and I can show you some stuff. You can even send me some ASINs if you want me to check some stuff. But we can do that afterwards. If you stay on till the end of the show, then we can walk through some more Keepa stuff. So awesome.
Yeah, I'll say I got nowhere to be, so I'm yours as long as you need me.
Sweet, man. So yeah, maybe we'll do that together. So Chris, there is an event called the OAC, the Online Arbitrage Challenge, that is pseudo sort of starting tomorrow. There's like a little Q&A hangout session, but really like the meat and potatoes of it. It starts on Monday. Can you give us a little breakdown? Like, what is going on? What is it? Who is it for? What are you covering? All that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is the OA Challenge? So, the OA Challenge is kind of a culmination of all the things that I've learned over the past 10 or 11 years in this space. And what we do is we start with the foundation, which is Keepa. And I know we talked about Keepa a little bit tonight, and we looked at some sales rank, we looked at some buy box. However, that is literally just scratching the very surface of what Keepa can do. And so for 2 days, we go through every single feature because there's a way to also marry Keepa with tactical arbitrage in something I like to call the shotgun method of reverse sourcing. And then there's so much more we can actually do with the Keepa website. You can do Amazon to Amazon flips, and you can parse data in all kinds of different ways to kind of supercharge your reverse sourcing. And we go through all of that. And then we talk about manual sourcing. So we do what we did here tonight, but we do it over 2 days. We do regular manual sourcing, and then we go and we do some reverse manual sourcing as well, because there is a way to start with Amazon and then kind of go the other direction. Then we spend a couple of nights on tactical arbitrage, 2 nights on tactical arbitrage. We talk about product search, we talk about reverse search, and it's soup to nuts. You should be pretty dangerous after that. Then we break down all the tools that you can use. We've got a couple of nights of Q&A because there will literally be hundreds of questions that people have, and we make sure that every single question is answered. And then we dive into some weeds a little bit more after that, and we do some OA tools that aren't necessary but are really cool to have. We do free and paid, and make sure you go away knowing how to use every single one of those. And then we have a bunch of special guests as well. So we've got information from some really smart people on prepping and packing, and we've got guides, and you also get a copy of the OG of Amazon, Chris Green. You get a copy of that 400-page book that you can do what you'd like with. And it's been an incredible course. We have a lot of people come out of it who do really, really well, and we've built a really great community around the OA Challenge.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you guys who know me, we've had Hustle Buddies now 2.5 years or so. There are very few things outside of our sort of family of content that we sort of promote. The OA Challenge is one of those things, like, I felt like I will not ever do this better, so I might as well just team up with the best and give it to you guys instead of trying to reinvent the best wheel that was ever made for online arbitrage. So that's why I brought him in, why we brought Chris in, and why, like, we'll talk about this openly, and it's like 100% sort of got the Hustle Buddies thumbs up from me, or the Nate thumbs up from me. Yeah, the class is incredible. I've gone through it myself. I learned new tricks. There's multiple, I mean, beginners go through it, they'll learn tons of stuff. 7-figure sellers go through this, they'll learn new tricks. So it doesn't really matter. I'll say, and maybe Chris, maybe you might slightly disagree, I don't know how you word it, but I would recommend that a person have a minimum of, you have an Amazon account and you've probably shipped something off, because I don't think, unless things have changed, I don't think you cover that beginner. But as long as you have that sort of base of, like, you have your account and you know how to ship something to Amazon, everything else you've got covered as far as online
Yeah.
arbitrage is concerned.
Yeah. If Amazon Seller University covers it, I'm not going to,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yep. That's a good way of saying it. I like it. Awesome, man. This was fantastic. So Chris also said, so he messaged me about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes before this. He's like, hey, can we do like a little like giveaway? Can we give away like a free entry into the OAC? It's like, heck yeah, we can. So I don't know, Chris, can you think of any good sort of like, I don't know, phrases or something that people have to do here in chat in order to sort of like enter to win this free online arbitrage challenge
Oh
prize
man.
here for the people who've stuck around? I mean, there's a bunch of you guys who've stuck around here towards the end of this. So I don't know. I mean, just commenting
I
like
should have.
enter is fine, but I don't know if there's some other sort of small thing.
I'm so bad at like being a trivia person, like a trivia host. So I don't know. I mean,
How
we can.
about
Yeah.
how about this? Okay, in chat, in order to enter the competition, and this is Googleable. If you don't know what the heck I'm saying, you can Google the answer here. All right. What word does Dwight Schrute say after Bears beats? It's the shirt that Chris is wearing right now. All right. What word comes after Bears beats? All right. What is that part that I just, or I guess what, 2 words, I guess. What phrase or what show comes right after Bears beats? Okay, write that in chat. I'll give it, let's say 3 minutes to let people enter. And then I will pretty much just close my eyes and scroll up and down in chat and stop somewhere and point my finger. And the closest person to my finger over here on my, I've got the chat way over here on my, oh, there it is. Got the chat going over here on my screen. So pretty much the closest person to my finger after I just kind of scroll up and down, close my eyes and point my finger, that person is going to win a free entry into the OAC. So also to sweeten the deal a little bit from our end of things, for those of you guys who don't win and you're like, I didn't get it. Okay. At Hustle Buddies, we've made a special coupon for anyone who gets the online arbitrage challenge through our link. So that's, you can see it down over there, that bit.ly/HB-OAC in all caps. So for some reason, caps lock is important there. For anyone who gets it through our link, you'll get a 20% coupon off of any Hustle Buddies things. If you're like, I don't know if I should get this, get that. All right, hopefully this will sort of help you get both if you want. So yeah, so we'll put that in there as sort of like a runner-up consolation. If you don't get the free entry, you can still get 20% off of any Hustle Buddies classes. So like the Replan workshop, our Coles class, which are given away and stuff like that. So yeah, all of that. All right, maybe we'll do maybe about 1 more minute and let it go by. So yeah, so after this, I'm thinking we can probably do some Q&A where people can just start asking questions, maybe 15-20 minutes of Q&A stuff. And then if people want to stick around for some more like Keep a Help, or they have like specific ASINs or something they want us to check and talk about, I know I'll stay on it. Chris, if you want to stay on, that's great.
Yeah.
If you want to go hang out with your kids, that's fine too. But,
Yeah. No, I got nowhere to go.
Awesome. All right. I am going to scroll my thing up and down for a while. All right, we'll get a little get a little drum roll going. I'm gonna scroll this up and down and close my eyes and point right there. The closest person is Vivian Stykos. I will put a thing right there. You. All right, so Vivian Stykos. Chris, how do you want to maybe just like shoot you a message or something,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
shoot
If
both
she
of us a
wants
message
to.
if one of us
Yeah.
doesn't reply?
Yeah.
So Vivian Stykos. That's a very Greek last name.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, shoot one of us a message. You are the lucky winner of a free entry into the OAC, the Online Arbitrage Challenge, which is starting tomorrow. All right. If you guys did not win, I am so sorry that you did not win. You can still sign up. And if you use our link, you can get an extra coupon off of other Hustle Buddies classes. I'll put that over there. Put that over there. Boom, boom, boom.
Now, I'll be honest with you guys. The Replan class is a perfect fit with the OA class, in my opinion. Your Replan class is second to none. So
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we both kind of made, like, you were doing the OAC as we were sort of making the Replan workshop, and I know we both like reached out to each other like, hey, do you want to promote this? We're like, oh shoot, I'm making my big thing. But yeah, no, it worked out well. I feel like they go hand in hand really well.
yeah,
I've had a lot of people say like, oh, this really builds on that, and that really builds on this, in both directions. So yeah, we appreciate it, and we're glad that we could sort of work with you and not against you, like sometimes happens with content creators. So
exactly.
awesome. Okay. If you guys have other online arbitrage questions, feel free to drop them in chat. It'll be easier for us to see them if you put like a hashtag question in front of it, just so it pops out a little bit easier for us in chat. But yeah, we'll stick around here probably 15, 20 minutes or so, going
Yeah.
through some OA questions. And
I
then,
do.
yeah.
I see one that I get asked a lot that I haven't talked about tonight. So, what time is the OA challenge, and how much time do I need? So, the OA challenge starts at 6 p.m. Eastern every single day. All right, it starts on the 7th. Tomorrow night we are going to have a round table. Nate, I've got a few other. There's actually going to be two Nates there. I've got a few other friends who I'm bringing in who I just think that I think there are a bunch of people who are smarter than me, and why not get them together for a pretty good reason to get what's on their mind about the future of Amazon and things like that. So we're going to do that tomorrow night. Then on Monday, we actually start class, and we start at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're looking at usually between 60 and 90 minutes every single day. That's
I'm trying to
weird.
block that. Sorry.
We're looking at 60 to 90 minutes every single day. Now, this year, the Super Bowl happens to be during the OA Challenge. So we are going to take Super Bowl Sunday off. However, the next day is Valentine's Day, and I planned a very romantic lunch for my wife so that I can be back with you guys Valentine's Day evening, and you're only going to get one day off. Even on the days that we have scheduled for rest, I typically still go live and talk about something. So essentially 14 days, 6 p.m. until 7:30 or 8 p.m. Eastern for 14 days. And that's what you got to figure out there.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to scroll up, see what questions. I got the OA course. I did percent. If you need that 20% coupon and you bought the OAC, just shoot me a message on Facebook. If I don't respond, maybe shoot me an email like nathan@hustlebuddies.com. But usually I'll respond to stuff unless it goes to my spam folder, but I try to check that about every 2 weeks to a month or something. So give me some time and I should get back to you. Just tell me what you're talking about and I should get it. This person, and if you answered this already, Chris, and I just wasn't listening because I'm multitasking, I apologize. So this person is asking roughly how long each day, like is it an hour, is it 2 hours, what kind of time commitment per day is it?
It's somewhere between 60 and 90 minutes, and a lot of that depends on how many questions there are. So here's the thing. Because you are paying me your attention, which it is an investment of your attention and time, I do not miss any questions. I make sure every question is asked because you're paying attention and you're also paying some money to be there. Now, every now and again, it's 2.5 hours because there's lots and lots of questions. But we record everything, and everything is available to you ad infinitum or forever. And you have it to watch anytime you like.
Awesome. And a couple people asked about where's the Replan workshop. If you go to thereplanworkshop.com, you can find it over there. And yes, I do need WD-40 for my chair. I've WD-40 this like 4 times. It just doesn't stay. I don't know what to do about it, man. Just doesn't stick. Let's see. All right, so Chris, what's your take on this? For let's say this is a semi-newer seller, would you recommend using a buy list or a leads list or a bolo list type of thing, or paying to get tactical arbitrage?
It's a great question. So, listen, any quality lead list is actually going to cost you more than tactical arbitrage. What it's going to do, though, is it is going to save you some time, and it's going to allow you to essentially look over the shoulder of someone. And this is a good lead list, okay? Not, there are bad ones out there, but it's going to essentially let you look over the shoulder of someone who knows what they're doing. All right. And now, here's the other thing you're going to need to realize: a lot of times prices will come down. And it's market economics, and every single listing on Amazon is kind of its own little economy. And we can see price suppression happen when supply increases, but the demand does not keep up with that supply, and then prices fall, and et cetera, and so on. But we're not here for an economics lesson. So I think that they are a great investment, especially if you use them properly. And what I mean by that is there are great starting points. Yes, you could buy some of the leads and probably make your money back if you bought 1 or 2 leads per week. But they're also starting points for rabbit trails to other products. For example, maybe the lead list shows you that there's a sale on Lancome products. Okay, well, there's 2 leads from Lancome, but there's 1,500 other products on the site. Well, it's time for you to go and really increase your ROI by doing some manual sourcing. So I do like lead lists, and that's why. And that might be the better investment for somebody who's new, because you get a little bit of, you kind of get to follow a leader, and you can do your own manual sourcing and practice that way. And then once you know what you're doing, why not just make those lead lists yourself with software, pay a little bit less money, and maybe employ a VA to help you instead.
Yeah, and someone was asking earlier, like, do these lead lists, are they usually using tactical arbitrage? And I would say, yeah. I mean, 99% of the lead lists out there are probably using tactical. Maybe that's slightly over exaggerating, but pretty
Yeah,
close to it, unless they
I'm
explicitly say that they are doing it manually.
yeah. I am seeing a resurgence of manually sourced lead lists, and that kind of being a selling point.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you guys, unless I can kind of sample the cooking, I take that kind of marketing with a grain of salt. Uh, you know, so
And that's so I'll go off on a little tangent here, because we've had a lot of people in the group recently talking about BOGO groups or BOLO
mhm.
groups. And my big thing with that is, in a BOLO group where they're like require you, like part of the entry, they like require you to share a lead or something. The problem with that is you are now receiving leads from a bunch of beginners, because experienced sellers aren't joining BOLO groups like that where you are required to share something, or at least not really at a large degree. It's the beginner sellers. And do you really want like
Mhm.
100 other beginner sellers finding your products for you? it's you're sort of, yeah, that sounds like a waste of money to me. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was a side tangent from an earlier thread in our Facebook group this week. Let's see. Is the HB bundle available at a discount for the OAC people? You know, I I think the coupon works for that. I don't think I disabled that on our site, so I think it does work on the bundle. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know how my settings are. I'll say whatever the settings are is what it is. If it doesn't work, then I apologize. If it does work, well, congrats, you just found a loophole that I didn't close. All right, so you're welcome to try it. Let's see. All right, so Mason said that he took both the Replan and the OA thing. Just passed 100K. Woo, 6-figure club.
Nice.
Awesome in his
Congratulations.
first year. Looking for a prep center. Any advice on what to look for in a prep center?
That's a good question. So my suggestion would be, first, find one in a tax-free state. There's going to be 4 of them. There's Oregon, Montana, Delaware, and New Hampshire. Those are the 4 tax-free states. Are there great prep centers outside of those states? I'm sure there probably are. However, you might as well be able to send it to a tax-free state, and kind of soften the blow of having to pay someone to prep your items for you. Matter of fact, it can kind of be a wash depending on how much you pay and how much sales tax you're saving. If you live in California and you have to pay 10% sales tax, that's $250 on a $25 item. It might cost you $1.75 to have it prepped, but you just put money in your pocket. Okay. Now, what to look for? You're going to want to look for someone or a organization that is good with communication because they are a partner in your business. You are trusting them with your inventory, and you want to make sure that you can communicate with them and there's not any issues like that. You want to make sure they have a good process in place for receiving your inventory, making sure that you know they have your inventory so that everything goes well and they can create your shipments and things like that. And if they have maybe a video of showing their process, like here's how we would prep this particular item, that would make me feel pretty good too. Because then I can see, oh, okay, well, they take soup cans and they wrap them in bubble wrap, and then, well, that's exactly what I would do. So that makes me feel a lot more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Some people want. Okay, so I guess there's two people here. Some people want prep centers that are in their own state. I know we just talked about tax-free states. Some people want them in their own state. I can only really think of two people here. One, the person doing a lot of retail arbitrage and they want a place that they can drop off to locally. Or two, a beginner who doesn't know that they don't actually want this.
Mm-hmm.
So like someone was asking about a prep center in Florida. I live in Florida. I don't use a prep center in Florida. I only know of one, and their website does not make me very confident in their abilities.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, I've used them for retail arbitrage.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and I think they're in like Kissimmee. They're in the Orlando area.
That's the one. Yes.
Yep. So, okay. Well, I'm glad if they worked, then great. Their website looked a little 1998 for my taste, but that's all right. Let's see. Someone asked, can someone from Canada benefit from the OAC?
Here's the cool thing about arbitrage. Arbitrage, and we actually get into this the very first night of the OA challenge. So arbitrage is definitely not something that is new in the internet world. Matter of fact, the first laws about arbitrage were actually written in the Code of Hammurabi. Okay. There are literally laws from back then in that stone. So the principles of arbitrage work across marketplaces, across countries. The stores might be different, and the products might be a little bit different, but arbitrage is arbitrage no matter where you do it. And we've had tons of Canadians. We've got actually a large contingent of folks from Israel that have come through, and Australia and the UK and all over the world.
We actually just had someone today post in Hustle Buddies that they're doing in Australia, and they just started, but they're killing it over there on the Australian marketplace, which is really cool.
Big opportunity in Australia right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, we've got a question here. They say, why do the Bengals suck, and why are they going to lose the I'm so sorry. I'm misreading that question. Let me go to the next one. Let's see. Okay, here's an interesting one. Amazon to Amazon flips. I almost said something here during that soup thing, because you could buy this soup as a single can for, it was like $1.98 or whatever, from Amazon themselves. So yeah, you want to talk about this a little bit?
Sure. And so how much time do I have to wait between buying from Amazon and sending it in to sell? You don't. You can literally get it, wrap it up, turn it around. Well, hopefully Amazon would wrap it up nicely that you could just turn it around with your FNSKU sticker, but chances are that's not the case. But you can receive the items, you can get them prepped, and you can send them right back into Amazon. The thing about Amazon to Amazon flips is we're typically taking advantage of Amazon going in and out of stock on a regular basis, and them being a lot cheaper than when Amazon is out of stock, and we kind of get the sales in those peaks. All right, and we take advantage of the valleys. Now, my suggestion is that you have a business Amazon account to buy your Amazon flips with. That way it's separate. You're not allowed to use any Prime benefits when you do Amazon to Amazon flips or anything else. There's no reselling with your Prime benefits. And that's it. You find them cheap on Amazon and they have a history of going a lot higher, you can flip it.
Love it.
I saw a question about prep centers. I kind of wanted to go back to a little bit. And it was, shouldn't I be worried that a prep center is going to steal all of my replens? That is a legitimate question. And one, if you're doing so, here's the thing. If my gut said that Nate was not a respectable and upstanding businessman, I wouldn't do business with him. And everyone has that gut. So you've got to trust it a little bit. And you need to also look at reviews and things like that. And, ask your peers, hey, is this person good to do business with? Because I'll tell you what, if a prep center all of a sudden did really, really well at selling on Amazon, and there really are no secrets. Someone's going to find out their seller ID, or eventually. And if they were stealing all of their clients' best replens, they would be out of business overnight. It would not last very long. So if you're doing business with people who understand that relationships are really what business is all about, and they want to stay in business long term and not just be a fly by night operation, then they're not going to do that. Some prep centers might even offer you a contract that says we will not compete with you on any products. Honestly, that's going to be about as good as the paper it's written on. But if it made you feel better, you could get one.
Yep. All right, this person on Facebook is asking about repricers. What do you recommend as far as repricers? To use an AI, or I'll say an algorithmic repricer is what I'm thinking they're asking. So yeah, I'll answer that for me. Maybe Chris, you can chime in. So I think this depends on your size and your budget. So for me, in our business, I want the best of the best because I'm selling a lot of inventory and I can afford the best of the best. So in my opinion, that's Seller Snap by a landslide. They are the most expensive by a mile. There's nothing that comes close to as expensive as Seller Snap. But for me, I mean, if it performs 2-3% better than the second place thing, I'm more than making that money back. So that's why I use Seller Snap. And we've got tons of articles in our Facebook group. If you just search repricer, or you want to search Seller Snap, or some other options, Be Cool is another option. Aura is out there. PPP is a newer one that I've heard some pretty good reviews about. Profit Protector Pro, but yeah, so that's sort of my take. It sort of depends on your budget. If you've got a lot of budget, get a great one. If you've got a smaller budget, probably go with maybe like PPP or Be Cool. They're sort of the lower end ones. And if you're in the middle, maybe Aura is sort of the middle. That's my opinion. So Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I think repricers are an integral part of a business, especially once you get to a point where you really need to focus on other things. Repricing is important, but it's also something that can be put off to software. And just you need to get the best that you can afford is really what it comes down to. And personally, for me, I don't want to sit in front of the television at night and have to reprice all my items. And I want to sell through as quickly as possible. And so you have to have a repricer to do that. If you're 2 or 3 months in and you're doing a couple $1,000s a month, I would probably say it's time to take the leap and automate that, because it will help you sell more, which means that you can buy more and make more, and it kind of just cycles on itself.
Yeah, I remember when I was first starting, and again, I mean, we started with almost nothing, so I couldn't afford the tools. I was doing everything manually. I was sort of bootstrapping it. I was repricing manually probably 4 times a day, usually, like right when I wake up, during my prep period at school. I was a teacher. Right when I got home, and right before I went to bed. Like, I was going through every single item 4 times a day. That was a lot of time. I mean, let's say that's 30 to 60 minutes out of my day, 7 days a week. That's a lot of time. So, yeah, once we got a repricer, that it was much easier. This person was asking if they've taken the OAC before, can they take it again?
Absolutely. We'd love to have you. Matter of fact, if you are an OA Challenge alumni, you should have gotten an email for a pretty hefty discount. And if you didn't, you can message me and I'll make sure that you get the right code for that discount.
Awesome. This question I like. I'll sort of start this, and then Chris, if you've got some other things to add as well.
Yeah.
So they're asking about how to figure out which variation of an article of clothing sells. got your jacket with 20 different colors, 5 different sizes. How do you know which ones are good, which ones are bad? Okay, so there are a couple different methods. If you don't have any tools at all, you're going to have to look at the reviews. As far as my knowledge is concerned, I'll explain from there. Maybe Chris can add something else. But as far as my knowledge is concerned, the free way is you look at the reviews, and under the review, it'll say like what they purchased. That's really hard. That's really arduous. Personally, would I even bother with that? No, I would just buy one of everything and call it a day. There are some other ways you can do it. So Keepa can help show you. There is a little breakout section within the Keepa section. I think it's under the data tab, if I'm not mistaken. That will
It's the
show.
variations tab now.
Okay, variations tab. And it'll just show you like, okay, black has 22 reviews, white has 18 reviews, pink has 5 reviews, like, and it'll just show you boom, 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 that easy. So it'll show you, that will show you it. If you're using either ASINZen or RevSeller, that box that shows up right on the Amazon page that shows you the fees, both of those have a little button that says variations. That'll show you basically the same thing that Keepa just said. And Tactical Arbitrage will also do the same thing. They have a little tactical expander. Is that what they call the little tool?
That portion is just called the variations checker.
Variation checker. So yeah, and that'll expand it too. So those are all the ways that I know of it. And as far as I'm aware, they're all basing that off of checking the reviews. It's just,
Yep.
Do you want to do it manually, or do you want a system to just scrape that data for you?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right on the money. And honestly, Keepa just made their variations better. So it's they've broken out some graphs so that you can see. So thing is about variations is you might see, okay, well, a white in size 5 got 22% of the reviews, and black in size 7 got 10% of the reviews. And so then we've got to say, okay, well, the white one probably sells better. But now Keepa has added some little graphs so you can see, well, yes, the white sells better, but over the last 3 months, the number of reviews have accelerated on the black much faster. So that one might actually be selling better, even though historically the white one sells better. And so it's just gotten a little bit better. So Keepa is going to be the cheapest paid way to do that, and probably one of the best tools out there that you're going to be able to get.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I was going to show that on my screen, but I've got the wrong screen up right now. Yeah, I can pull that up later. So yeah, that's sort of how you do it. Let's see. I'm trying to see any other questions. If you guys got other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. This person over from YouTube is asking if they miss a day, can they go back and rewatch stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like Nate, I record everything. It's recorded, it's saved in a Facebook group forever. And then we also have something called a circle community, which is where all the replays will get uploaded as well. So that there's a place off of Facebook to go and look at those.
Sorry, I'm trying to share my screen here. There we go. Okay. So yeah, this was that Keepa variations tab. So I just pulled up Nike socks, clicked on this one, and then I clicked on the variations tab right there. And you can see the breakdown. It shows you how many reviews they're getting, and you can see this is what Chris was talking about, showing the graphs. This is actually, yeah, that is cool. I haven't seen that yet. But I think so. For me personally, I sell a lot of clothing. This isn't something that I personally really look at, because especially with like clothing and shoes and things like that, I am so rarely going deep into one variation. I mean, I have a pretty sizable budget, larger than most folks here, and I still usually don't buy more than 2 or 3 of any one. Like if it's like, let's say I'm buying bras, like the 34A, like I'm probably only buying 2 or 3 34A white, 2 or 3 34A black, and so on and so on and so on. Like I don't go really deep in any one, and I'm not really searching that. I check this, I don't know, maybe once a month or so. It's pretty rare that I'll actually dive into all that data. Let's see. Oh, this is an interesting one. Does TA tell you what the best place is to purchase a product, like the cheapest price?
Yeah, that's kind of what it's supposed to help you with. So as long as a site is supported by tactical arbitrage, it can look for those products across all of those sites, and you can have it set up a couple of ways. One, you could see all of the places that tactical arbitrage might find it for, or it can show you just the best place. So, but yes, that's essentially what it does. It tells you where you can find things profitably.
Yep. Let's see. Here, I see a lot of people telling me I need a new chair. I do need a new. That's a tax write-off. I'm waiting until we move houses. We got a new house that I'm moving to, so I'm waiting to upgrade until that. Question for Nate: what do you think the likelihood of success would be in taking the frequently bought with items on an Amazon listing and creating a bundle out of them? I think your likelihood of success is relatively good if you know what you're doing. If that's something that you're familiar with, this is a more advanced technique, creating bundles. I think it's incredibly powerful. I think it's a great method if you know what you're doing. And a good place to get ideas for that is that frequently bought together section of an Amazon listing, like multiple flavors of soup. Yep.
And so success leaves clues, and if you go out and look for those kind of things, you're actually going to find a lot of them. For example, a really great item several months ago I found was a 10 pack of uh, mashed potatoes, the ones you just dump in the water, and it was like 6 different flavors and 10 different packages, and it sold incredibly well. And so there's a lot of those out there you can make and do very well with them.
If you forget what the 4 tax-free states are, you can do a quick Google search. If you go to Google, type "what are the tax-free states," Google will tell you. If you forget, because I know I'll forget unless I like write it down or something. Okay, so this person from YouTube is asking, uh, sort of about the suppressed buy box. All right, would you buy something if the buy box says that it is suppressed? Do you take that into consideration, Chris?
Suppressed buy boxes don't bother me at all. Now, does a suppressed buy box slow the velocity of an ASIN? Typically, yes. However, it does not mean that it doesn't sell. So we have to go back and we have to look at the data. Can we see on Keepa that sales rank is still giving us the heartbeat? It's still moving up and down. If that's the case, and I can see that the price is staying consistent and sellers aren't trying to bring that price down to revive that buy box, and it's moving, I'm all about it. I would jump on it without any issue. Now, do you have to price things a little bit differently? Yes. Typically you need to be closer to the lowest price, or maybe, you can be an FBA seller and be a little bit higher than merchant fulfilled sellers. So there are some things to think about there, but suppressed buy boxes, I don't love them, but I don't hate them either.
Yep. Let's see. I'll do this. I'll keep bringing another question here. So, what app do you use for tactical arbitrage? Tactical arbitrage is the software. So, what do you use for it? You use tactical arbitrage. And then somebody else was asking if you have to have tactical arbitrage to take the online arbitrage challenge. Chris, what's your thoughts on that? Does someone have to have tactical arbitrage to get value from the OAC?
No, no, and this seems to be a common misconception, thinking that we just cover tactical arbitrage, and maybe it's because I do happen to have a lot of tactical arbitrage training out there. But the OA challenge is much more holistic. As a matter of fact, we don't get to any tactical arbitrage information until like day number 7 or something like that. Or we wait a good while because we've got so many other building blocks to a successful online arbitrage business that we need to cover and make sure that you can do before I think you're even ready for something like tactical arbitrage.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah, there's so many different ways to do online arbitrage. Tactical arbitrage is one fantastic way, but it's not the only way. And so it's not the only thing covered in the online arbitrage challenge. There's a lot of, even like the manual stuff that Chris was doing with us earlier. He talks through all of that. Let's see. Someone was asking about if they don't get into this live show, when is sort of the next one? And I'll sort of interject here. Like, I think you can pretty much always buy the replays, or almost always buy the replays. If you can't get into a live show, you can always buy the previous replays. But how often do you do this live?
So the lives, we don't ever like set our calendar. At the first of the year, we're going to do it this, and this time. But typically, we end up doing them 3 times a year. So not quite once a quarter because we usually take fourth quarter off. There's way too much money to be made on Amazon to also teach a course on selling on Amazon in Q4. So about 3 times a year is when we do it. So once every 3.5, 4 months. But yeah, replays. We do offer the replays. You could buy those anytime you wanted. We're not going to keep information out of people's hands just because we're not doing it live.
Uh-huh. And you still get plenty of value from the replays. Obviously, it's cooler to be in the live because you can do like the Q&As and stuff like that, but you'll still get lots of value from replays. All right, so I've seen a couple variations of this question, but let's say someone is in Canada and they're trying to purchase stuff. Maybe they sell on both the Canadian marketplace and the US marketplace. And there's a lot of questions about like, okay, how do they ship stuff across the border, or is it easier to just keep things within its country? I'll answer that shortly from my opinion. Maybe Chris, then you can interject here. So in my opinion, it's easier to not deal with all of like the import export tariff, that's whatever is included. It's easier to just not deal with that and to just keep stuff if you buy it within a country to then sell it within that same country. Utilizing prep centers. I know that there's prep centers in Canada. I know that there's prep centers in the United States. I know there's stores in Canada and stores in the United States. So buy it in a store in Canada, send it to a prep center in Canada, sell it in Canada. I think, in my opinion, is easier and usually cheaper. That's sort of my. I haven't done a whole lot of the import export stuff. I've gone the other direction, so I'm probably a little bit biased. But yeah,
Yeah.
Chris, what's your take on that?
I mean, I would agree with you. So I'm a lazy guy. Okay. So I don't want to deal with figuring out how to ship it across borders and all this stuff. But remember, my laziness is someone else's opportunity. So the people who have figured out how to get it, I'm going to buy Canadian things. Like I'm going to buy ketchup flavored potato chips, and the real ones that they sell in Canada, not the fake ones they sell down here in the U.S. And I'm going to get them across the border. They can make that money. And then the cool thing about being in Canada and selling in the U.S. is you get to use that monopoly money up there, kind of wash it down here in the US, and then arbitrage that money back to Canada and make it worth a little bit more monopoly money in Canada. So you kind of got a leg up on us.
I like it. This is a little more niche question. What's the best tool for the Australian market? So I'm going to say Keepa is going to be the best tool for the Australian market because I don't know other like
Keepa
staple tools.
doesn't
Do they not
Keepa
work in
doesn't
Australia?
track Australia.
They track everything. Really? They don't track Australia?
They did, and then Amazon was doing something and blocking them, and
I
no.
like showed an example. I guess not recently. I remember showing an example from Australia, but
At
huh.
one time they were, but they removed it.
All right. Well, then I take it all back. Foot in mouth.
Yeah, but honestly, and you can use tactical arbitrage in Australia, but other than that, which is crazy to me, Australia is like it's a mature market, but Amazon is really kind of just taking hold in Australia. Get the words upside down, but
That's because it's down under. Everything's
exactly.
backwards.
So there's a ton of opportunity there, but you're probably going to have to do a lot of manual sourcing and things like that.
Yeah, and so I mean, there's downsides there. Obviously, a lot of the same tools don't work, but the upside is you have so little competition. There are so few people doing what you are trying to do. In America, I mean, I am recognized in Walmart. When I go to Walmarts, like in person, people see me like, "Oh, Nate from Hustle Buddies, you flip stuff." Like I will frequently run into other people who are flipping stuff all the time.
Mhm.
In Australia, you will probably never see another person in a store like scanning something or researching something from an aisle or whatever it is. It's just there's so little competition out there. So yeah, less resources, less I guess tools and things like that. but you make up for it with just the sheer lack of supply from other competition. Someone asked about a prep center. All right, Chris, what do you think of this? So what's the point of a prep center if a person can just build their own team?
Yeah, no, that's totally valid, and you might be able to build that team cheaper than it costs to use a prep center.
I'll say you
But
probably can.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're paying somebody, let's say you're paying somebody $15 an hour and they're prepping 50 units an hour for you, that is way cheaper than a prep center. However, I will tell you what is not cheaper are the headaches that come with managing people. The humans are resources, and that's why there's a human resources department. And unfortunately, people don't show up for work, or they show up high. I know that one from personal happenings.
Chris, just
They
stop
show
getting
up.
high when you go to the
I
warehouse, man.
know. I got to
Simple
stop that.
solution, right?
But you've got to deal with people, and that's a pain in and of itself. And then you have the cost of hiring, the cost of training, the cost of turnover. And then are you going to offer insurance? And are you going to offer any benefits? And on and on and on and on. So instead of dealing with that, just like I don't want to deal with my own taxes, so I could do it cheaper myself, but I will pay a CPA to handle it. That way I don't have to, and I remove that headache from my life. The other thing is maybe you want to be mobile. I can literally pick up and go anywhere I want in the entire world, and my business does not shut down because I can order from here. I could order while I'm in China. I could order while I'm in Australia or at an Airbnb in the middle of the woods. So it just depends on what you want your lifestyle to be. And for me, that is not having a team of employees to have to report to.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And also, I mean, there's other overhead too. Like, are they going to go to a warehouse, or are these people coming into your own house? And are you cool with that? Do you have a
Yeah,
space for that?
that's huge because I've got a kid here, or I have kids over. And did I do all the background checks on the employees that I should have done? And then what kind of issues are there? I mean, there's a big ball of wax to figure out.
Yeah. So I'll say I actually do both. I have my own people that I'll use for my retail arbitrage stuff, and they'll come and it's people we trust. It's like our babysitter who then can double as a prepper, right? So look, we have people that we can trust that can come over to our house that can prep the retail stuff that I'm buying. But if I'm doing OA, I figured, well, I might as well just send this somewhere else. And it's also instantly, infinitely scalable, pretty much. Because if you're hiring your own people, like you have a limit. Let's say you have a budget of 5,000. If all of a sudden you get an Amazon loan for 30,000, well, okay, you had 6 times as much inventory. You can't possibly process that amount of stuff with the same amount of people, and so like there's some growing pains. Whereas with a prep center, sure, you're sending us 5K of stuff. Next month you're sending us 30K of stuff. Doesn't matter to us. Like we'll make it happen. So the prep center sort of takes that burden off of you, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think there's pros and cons to both. There are a lot of people who do it themselves. I think there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, you can start your own prep center. Like if you have an awesome team, I know a lot of people, especially in like our insiders group, there's a lot of people who they've got this process down. They've trained their people. Like, you know what? I should start offering this service because prep
Mm-hmm.
centers are pretty much always full. They're usually
If
it's
you're good, you're full.
yeah, like people are like, what's a good prep center? I can't give you a recommendation because it's full. Whatever I
Yep.
say, if it's not full, an hour after I say it, it will be full.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't really give exact recommendations because they just fill up so fast. All right, let me see. I'm trying to jump ahead a little bit. And then, so after we finish this, I think I just want to do maybe like one or two more questions because we've been here for a while. And Chris, if you want to go, that's cool. I'll
Oh
probably
yeah, no,
jump in
I'm good.
and do a little keep of stuff here in a second. Let's see. Someone's asking about a beginner class. So we have a beginner's class with Hustle Buddies, but really, I mean, I would recommend if you're an absolute beginner, like you don't have an account yet and you've never shipped something to Amazon, go through the Amazon Seller University and watch our YouTube videos. Like all of that beginning stuff you can do for yourself. Now, I have a class that'll sort of walk you through like do A, then B, then C, then D, but it's stuff that you can find on YouTube, just sort of reformatted so that you can see it. And I think our sales page, I broke it, so it's down right now. It'll probably be up in a few days, but yeah, if you already have an account and you've already shipped stuff, then yeah, I mean, you can absolutely do a lot of this stuff yourself. So we try to, and Chris does a great job of this as well, and we try to do this with all of our classes. I'll talk about advanced things, but I'll break it down to their simple forms so that the person who's just been doing this for a month or so can sort of catch up with me. Plus, you can always go back and watch these replays. So, I mean, like if you get it and you're like, I missed that part. Okay, well, go back like a month later, rewatch it, right? So yeah, you can reference stuff in the past, take good notes, all that stuff. So, aha, I like this question. This was gonna be something that I was gonna go into in the Keepa thing. So when you're looking at a Keepa chart, Chris, and the sales rank is missing, it's been missing for a while, but it was successful way in the past. How do you decide if it is a good listing?
Great question. And I wish we had an example that I could show you, but I just don't have any that I keep like on hand to show you guys. But so that is one of
I'll
the
try to
first
find
things
one
I
while you're
do.
talking.
No, perfect. I always like to look at the history and see, okay, well, has this ever had evidence that it sold well? And you said it did. Okay, so it had a BSR at one point. So then we can look at some other things like what is the recency and the frequency of reviews. And that one is going to be that one's going to be an easy indicator. If you can see that over the past 90 days, for example, there have been 20 or 30 reviews, and they seem pretty consistent. Well, that's a green light. That means that it's selling. And then people want to know, well, how much is it selling? Well, that's even more difficult question to answer. But you've got to go in and figure, well, usually it's somewhere between 1/2 and 1% of customers will actually leave a review. I actually think that's probably being pretty generous these days, and it's even fewer. But just for easy math, if we use 1%, you take 30, you divide that by 0.01, and you should get 300. And so this should have sold around 300 over the past 90 days. All right, being that there are 30 reviews. Now that's just a guess. It's not. Don't take that as gospel. All right, but you can say, okay, well, I could go ahead and test 10 of these and see how well they do. Another indicator you're going to want to look for is the number of sellers fluctuating. If the number of sellers is going up and down, especially on a regular basis, that's another indicator that the item is selling because people are coming in and out of stock. Maybe it's the same seller coming in and out of stock, and that's also great because they're replenishing that item. So those are going to be the things that I look for when there is no sales rank. And you gave away a huge thing for people to look for. There are lots and lots of these that actually do sell really well, that people that stick to BSR only don't ever even think about selling. And you've got a lot of opportunity you can mess with there.
Yeah, for sure. So I tried to pull up one here, and I want to preface this just because we just had the question like, oh, I'm a beginner. This seems over my head. If you're a beginner, I am gonna hope that I can encourage you or discourage you away from looking into all of this. This is a little bit more intermediate, advanced Keepa usage. Keep things simple when you're a beginner. Get that easy, low-hanging fruit. Okay, so if you're a beginner, close your ears. La la la. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Okay, if you're sort of a moderate seller, this is sort of what I'm talking about or what we were talking about. So I found some soup. All right. We see back here like July, October. Uh, that looks like it's selling moderately well. I mean, that sales rank is moving. It looks like a heartbeat back there, but it hasn't had a sales rank since January. And so, yeah, I mean, some of the things that Chris is talking about, and I couldn't only listen to about half of it because I was trying to find this while he was talking. But something else that you can do is you can see the two ways that I sort of judge it are the new offer count. So I'm looking down here, the new offer count and the review count. I know Chris was talking about the review count. So if you think that every review is 300 sales or 200 sales or 100 sales, whatever it is, you can sort of guesstimate, all right, here's a couple hundred sales. Here's a couple hundred sales. Here's a couple hundred. Here's a couple hundred. Here's a couple hundred. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe one of them got deleted or something. Someone's mom reviewed something. But based on this, I mean, at the end of 2020, beginning of January, it was still probably selling 100 times or so a month, roughly guesstimating. And then in 2021, it slowed down. So maybe like 100 people at the beginning of the year. And it's slowed down since then. So not flying off the shelf. I think it's probably selling every now and then. The other interesting thing that we can look at, so I just talked about the review count, this green graph. If I turn that off and I look at the blue graph, the new offer count, this is the number of sellers. And I apologize if Chris just said this exact same thing, but you can look here and you can see, I'll zoom in here. We can see here on like March 18th, there was 10 people. And then all of a sudden 9 people, and then 8 people, and then 6 people just like a week later. Okay, so what happened here? How did 4 sellers stop offering this? Most likely, with that amount of people coming off of it, it sold out, especially with a little price dip right there. Most likely someone sold out and pricing sort of changed. The buy box changed hands, and that sort of thing causes that. But yeah, so I would say that in this section, at least one person sold out. Maybe some people have like expired food or something, but I think it's safe to assume that at least one of these people, probably 2, 3, 4 of them, sold some stuff. And then you can see here over time, when a person jumps on the listing and then it goes to 7 and then back down to 6, there's a good chance that someone sold out and they went out of stock. And then at 7 down to 6, down to 5 later. So if this new offer count is moving for me, that's what sort of I'm looking for here. If the new offer count is moving around, that to me is usually a pretty decent indication that there's at least some movement. I can't extrapolate how much is selling because obviously maybe these sellers only have one in stock. So like maybe it's like, yeah, I sold one and then he sold one and then this person came up. So it's like you can't really extrapolate how much is selling using this, but you can see that there is some sales. It's not some sales. It's not completely stagnant. Yeah. So the way that I found that, I don't want to go too much into it. I think there's actually a whole day dedicated to how I found that in about 3 minutes of time, a no ranking listing that actually looked like a good seller. I know that's in the OAC. We've got a whole section of it in the Replan workshop as well. But yeah, that's such a powerful, using Keepa as like a sourcing tool. It's really interesting. There's some really cool tricks that Chris teaches in the OAC. Tricks that I picked up. It's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. So, yeah, super cool stuff.
And sorry, someone says for every 8 reviews, I thought that meant 800 was sold. This is why I don't do public math typically, because I always screw it up. So yeah, you are right. If I'm multiplying by 1%, or if I'm dividing by 1%, 8 would turn into 800 and 30 would turn into 3,000. So I apologize for the incorrect math.
And it's all really like rough guesstimates. It's not like, okay, there's one review, 100 things. So like we're sort of, and we always keep changing it. Well, maybe it's 100, 200, 300. Like it's hard to tell. And maybe it's way better. So like, for example, if you look at the Online Arbitrage Challenge, it's probably going to have a lot higher review to purchase ratio. Or like if our friend writes a book, like when there's things where it's like, oh, you personally know them and they have a following and stuff like that, it'll have a higher than normal review count to purchase ratio. So I think there's probably, I don't know how many reviews, I'm going to guess 200 or so. I don't think it's been sold 20,000 times, which I think, if I'm doing my math right, I don't think it's been sold that much. It's a popular book, but that, I think that's a little on the high side. So yeah, that's just to give you a rough guesstimate to base that off of. Let's see. Have how do you find prep centers? You can Google them. You can look in groups. You can look on Google. You can ask around. There's always new ones popping up. There's always ones. Some staples that we sort of recommend, but again, it's probably going to be full. Network Prep, run by Charles Leslie, Chaz, great guy. I think is he coming to the OAC this time? I know he has in the past.
He is going to be there tomorrow night, right alongside you.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see him tomorrow night. But he runs a great one. Real good guy, makes a lot of cool content as well. So yeah, Network Prep is a big one. Down South Prep, I've heard good things about. Prime Zero Prep is another pretty big name in the space. So, but again, like these places fill up. So find one, try a couple out, see which ones you mesh with, and go from there. Awesome. All right. So were there any, I think we've pretty much gone through most of like the major questions that I saw that really stuck out to me. Were there any other like Keepa specific things or issues there? I know we've been here for almost 2 hours and there's still about 200 people watching this, which is insane, by the way. I don't know.
Here's a great question, and I'm pretty sure we're of the same mindset here. So, thoughts on payability?
I have very strong thoughts on payability.
Yes.
I think Nate McAllister made a post about it a couple months ago. He had a more subdued. I think he's trying to like avoid a lawsuit. Thoughts on payability? It is terrible. It is absolutely atrocious. Okay, if you run the math on it, best case scenario, you're paying. Last time I ran the math, it was like 120-ish% APR on a loan that you're getting. Okay, so they disguise things as like, oh, we're just giving you your money. No. Let's break down this math. What would this actually look like over the course of a year? The APR comes out, best case scenario, it was like 120-something%. Okay, and that's best case scenario. They also lie a lot. They hide a lot of fees. They're a nightmare to get out of. If you are in them and you're trying to leave them, they won't let you. They will hold extra money. It is terrible. Okay, and again, I have strong opinions on this, and this is another reason. Me and Chris, I believe, have the same opinion on this. I feel so strongly about this. I won't invite, if there's other content creators that come up with stuff, if I hear that they are talking about payability, I don't bring them into Hustle Buddies, because payability pays content creators so much money to say payability is a good thing. You should get payability. That's the only reason that people trust them, is because people like me and like Chris say that you can trust them. No, they're terrible. You can't trust them. It's awful. Go to Uncle Vinny down the street if you need a loan that bad. He will give you better rates and will treat you better than payability will. So I mean, I don't want to start name dropping the content creators that have sort of become shills for payability, but no, don't use payability. And anyone who's telling you to use payability, I would personally recommend you stop reading their blog, watching their YouTube, going to their group, things like that. Because in my opinion, they don't have your best interest in mind. They're getting paid a lot of like multiple thousands of dollars to tell you that it's a good thing. For reference, I believe currently I would get paid $500 per person to sign up for payability in Hustle Buddies. Plus they want to sponsor videos. Plus they want to sponsor posts. Plus. Like there's a lot of money involved in saying that payability is a good thing. So
yeah,
that's my opinion. I don't feel strongly about that.
Yeah, I'm right in the same boat. There are way better ways to do it. There was another one that I thought was really interesting. And I missed. So what is the hardest challenge as a beginner?
Could you repeat that? You cut out for a second.
Yeah. What is the hardest challenge as a beginner on Amazon?
That is a good question.
I'll offer mine what I think while you think about it. So here's my opinion. My opinion is sticking with it. Okay. And yes, there's a lot of things to learn. You need to figure out how to read Keepa and see if something is selling, and you need to figure out is something profitable and things like that. That is all figure outable. Okay. What can be more difficult is embracing the suck and doing the difficult, boring, hard work until it finally clicks and then you want to do it. Okay. You could spend 10, 15, 20 hours and strike out. And at that point, a lot of people are ready to throw in the towel. And the people who keep going, that 40 or 50 or 60 hours that it might take to be like, oh, I got it. Okay. The people who stick through that are the ones who tend to be there a little bit longer. Okay. So if you can embrace the suck, if you can remember that everything's figure outable eventually, that will be the hardest part, in my opinion. There really are no secrets. Nate gives out all kinds of content. I've got all kinds of content. There are other content creators, and a lot of them give out really great information. And so it's all
just not the ones that
there.
talk about payability.
Exactly. Just not the ones that talk about payability. So for me, in my opinion, that's the hardest thing, is getting past that. James Clear really talks about it. The plateau of latent potential is what he calls it.
Yep. All right. So I had time to think, so I'm going to one up Chris here. I'm going to give 2 answers, and I'm going to piggyback off of his and make it better. I'm going to one up him here. All right. So Chris said, stick with it. I'm going to one up and say, just start. Okay, that's the biggest hurdle for a beginner. All right, so I think I'll talk about the mental side and then an actual like logistical thing that's difficult. So just start is the mental thing. Sticking with it, yeah. Once you're in it, keep going, keep doing that. There's so many beginners and hustle buddies who are like, yeah, I've been a lurker in this group for a year and I haven't made an account yet. Just start. Just an object in motion will stay in motion, and an object that is not in motion will continue to not be in motion. Like, you just got to start doing it and then continue doing it. But getting that whole like analysis paralysis, I've seen a lot of beginners just ask the most like strangest niche, so obscure questions because they're trying to learn every single. I mean, like, this person didn't have an account yet and they were asking like, hey, how do I'm not, this isn't anyone in chat here, this was a past conversation, but someone in one of my classes like, hey, like, I don't have an account set up yet because I'm worried about the import export fees if I'm trying to ship stuff to Saudi Arabia from America. And this person lived in America and they were trying to sell on the American platform. They're like, oh, but I want to sell on all these other platforms too. And I'm like, why are you trying to worry about like the import export VAT things shipping to Saudi Arabia's Amazon? You don't even have an American account yet. Just start. You'll start making mistakes. Okay. So yeah, that's in my opinion like the mental block. Logistically, if I want to give something a little bit more tangible, that's not just like a mental thing, I think the largest barrier to entry that people feel like is gating and restrictions. I think that's usually the thing that makes the most people quit early on. They just feel like everything is gated. Like, oh, I can't sell anything. I can't scan. Everything's blocked. I can't sell anything. Might as well stick to eBay. Might as well go back to my day job. I think that's a pretty common thing from what I've seen from different classes and coaching calls in our group and all that stuff. So logistically, I think that's a hard issue to get past. My sort of takeaways from that is, now, like, I sell a lot of clothing, I sell a lot of groceries. Clothing is ungated for everybody from day one. So pretty much, I mean, we've built a 7-figure business doing this. So let's say 70% of what I sell is clothing. You could pretty much sell 70% of what I'm selling. Okay. And that's as a beginner. So not everything is gated. There is stuff out there that you can sell. And then conversely, I mean, I also sell a lot of groceries. Groceries is so simple. I made a whole YouTube episode. I know that there's guides like, pay us $100 and we'll get you ungated in grocery. That's great. Or you could go to my YouTube and watch it for free. I won't get you ungated in everything, but I will teach you the process and I'll show you. I mean, it goes like grocery and topicals. There's all that other stuff, but it's the same concept for everything. So it's not too difficult to get ungated. It's fairly easy, and it's also not like a grass is greener thing. I want to keep reiterating that. Like, you can sell $1 million of pants, you can sell $1 million of books, you can sell $1 million of Nike, you can sell $1 million of, I don't know, baby formula, like stuff that you actually do have to get ungated in. You can make $1 million a million different ways on Amazon. So you don't have to get ungated to find success. But it's not too incredibly hard to get ungated in most things. All right. So at what point should someone take the OA challenge? If you have an account and you've shipped stuff, all right, you said you're currently at 10K sales a year, took 6 months off. Is it worth it? I think so. I think it's great, especially something for me. Like I've got real bad ADHD where like I either hyperphone. I think Chris Green just made a post about this. Like shout out to all the people who are either in a state of like catatonic laziness, or you are so hyper focused that like you're not eating, you're sleeping, like you don't even remember that you have kids. Like that's sort of how I operate. I'm either all in or I'm all out. So if you took a 6-month break, you might need something like the OAC to sort of jumpstart you back into it. Like, okay, I'm gonna start sourcing this manually. I'm gonna start doing this with Keepa. I'm gonna start, maybe I'll try tactical arbitrage, whatever. So if you sold 10K in a year, I would say tactical arbitrage probably isn't a great fit. I usually tell people have at least like 1K per month in spendable income. That's my general rule of thumb, and I think you're slightly under that. So let's just say you don't get tactical arbitrage. You probably have Keepa, you probably have other things. You're learning how to source manually from the OAC. You're learning how to do all these other tricks and reverse sourcing and all this stuff that you can do for free, or with the tools that you have like Keepa. So that's what I would personally recommend as the person who didn't create the OAC. How about the person who did create the OAC? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think you're right on the money there. You took off 6 months. This would probably be a good way to reinvigorate yourself a little bit, because it's the cool thing about the online arbitrage challenges is not necessarily me. While I like to think I'm the draw, a large part of the draw is also being hyper focused for 14 days right along people who are kind of in the same place as you. And you're going to network, you're going to build relationships, you're going to learn from people who are going to be there who are smarter than me. And you're also going to learn some things that I can teach you. And then hopefully that helps you hit the ground running and, do 10K a month rather than 10K a year.
Yep. I've got to show this too because it brought me back. My chair sounds like the AOL Messenger. Oh my gosh, I can hear that in my head now. Oh, my friend's online. Let's go play some video games. I want to go play Counter-Strike. Let's go, guys. Oh man, that brings me back. I apologize for the squeaky chair. Let's see. So yeah, Jennifer, that's what we were just talking about, like getting ungated. Either find what you can sell and don't worry about it, or figure out how to get ungated, which is relatively simple. So it says you can't sell this, you need approval. How do you get approval? If you click to the next page, Amazon tells you exactly what they need. They need an invoice from a distributor with a minimum of 10 units. Okay, so give them all of that. So go to Google. Let's say you're trying to do I don't know, L'Oreal Paris or something. Okay, maybe you're gated in L'Oreal. Okay, so you'd go to Google, L'Oreal wholesale distributor, or L'Oreal wholesale Atlanta or Orlando, like whatever city you're in. L'Oreal Paris wholesale. Like there's so many different keywords that you can try. If you don't find it on the first page, look to the second page. My tip for like, is this a legitimate distributor versus is it an illegitimate distributor? If they ask you for either your business license or your sales tax exempt number, I would argue that most of the time they're going to be legitimate. And if they do not ask you for those things, then they're probably not going to work as a distributor. That's my general rule of thumb as far as finding one that works. I don't know if Chris, you've got other advice there.
Yeah, no, that was spot on. Exactly what I would do.
All right. And then someone asked, why do I do clothing and grocery? Because it's just what I did. It's what works for me. Find the path of least resistance and do the heck out of it. There's so many ways. Like, I'm not trying to say clothing is the best way to sell on Amazon. Grocery is the best way to, like, no. It's there's a guy I know, and I found a storefront too. I stalked him down. There's a guy I know who does over 10 million a year of automotive. And all he's doing is selling like the decals to like a car lot, if it's like 99 down, 0 down, no interest for 6
That's
months, like he's
fascinating.
just selling those letters and those numbers, and he's making different bundles, like 0 down is a bundle and no interest is a bundle of the NOINT. Like he's just bundling those things together. It's all automotive, and he's doing 10 million a year. He hasn't sold a grocery in years. He hasn't sold clothing in years. But like I say that not to say that that's better, but it's just there's so many different ways that you can sell on Amazon. Find what works for you. Try a bunch of different things. Cast out a wide net, and you'll start to get some experience with some of these stores. You'll start to find places like, you know what? I hate shopping at Kohl's. I hate how their coupons work. My stuff always tanks. It sucks. All right, clothing's not for you, or at least Kohl's isn't for you. Find something else. Maybe, oh my gosh, Best Buy. I keep getting these Xboxes for crazy cheap. Like, find what works for you, and then spend 80% of your time doing what makes you the most money. And then maybe spend 20% of your time sort of finding these new little, it's like the reverse 80-20 rule, right? So like spend 20% of your time dabbling in these new things. Spend some of your time taking the OAC, even though everything you're doing is RA, or spend 20% of your time looking into, I don't know, selling clothes or doing private label, whatever this other interest is. Spend a small amount of time exploring other things, but spend most of your time doing what makes you the most money.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, awesome. Okay, we have been here now over 2 hours, which I greatly, Chris, this was awesome having you here for this long.
Oh,
I
I'm
appreciate
happy
you
to do it,
sticking
man.
around to answer questions. So yeah, guys, if you want to sign up for the online arbitrage challenge, I'll post it here in chat one more time. So tomorrow night, there's sort of like a virtual meetup that Chris was saying. I'll be there again tomorrow night. A bunch of other people that are way smarter than me are going to be there, just sort of hanging out, answering questions, shooting the breeze or whatever. And then Monday night is when it starts. So if you're trying to sign up for this, sign up for it before Monday happens, right? Get in there so you can get in, watch the live videos, ask the questions, go with the group. Chris mentioned this earlier, but I mean, it's huge being able, even if you can go live, go live. But even if you could just be a part of the group in real time, there's so much benefit there. Like asking questions with people that are doing similar numbers to you, or they're trying new things with you, being able to talk with them and sort of push each other. It's that whole, like, the rising tide raises all ships. It's that sort of concept. Like everybody's ship is going to be rising here in the OAC, and everyone's sort of helping each other and pushing each other and encouraging each other. Like it's an awesome environment. So check it out. Get in there before Sunday.
Oh, I should mention we changed our refund policy this year.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, so I wanted to call it the slap your mother refund guarantee. If you wouldn't slap your mother for the information inside the OA challenge, we'll give you a refund within 7 days, and I'll pay you $50 for wasting your time. So you can literally make $50 off of me if I waste your time in the first 7 days. But I promise to do my absolute best not to do that.
Yep, there you go. I mean, that's worst case scenario, you are making $50. I don't really know why people wouldn't sign up for this if worst case scenario is they make $50. So and like Chris is a good guy. Like he legitimately will stand by that. Like he's not just blowing smoke up your butt or whatever. Like he's a man of integrity. Like Chris, if Chris had a prep center, I'll put it this way: if Chris had a prep center, I would trust my inventory sending it to Chris. All right, he's that kind of a person. If that sort of gives you an idea of his character, so he's a great guy. Chris, we appreciate you coming here and doing all this OA training for us here, free in Hustle Buddies. This was incredible. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, we appreciate you, Chris. I appreciate all the 184 people who are still here after 2 hours and 11 minutes. So
wow.
yeah, we will see you guys if you're there in the OAC. We will both see you there tomorrow night during the chat. If not, I'll probably catch you guys on the next live video, and I'm sure that we'll have Chris in here at a later time. So, all right, we'll see you later, Chris. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you later, everybody else. Hustle on and have a good night.